Hey, my name is Ian Massey. I'm going to show you how to make some Southern style homemade biscuits, and to go with the easy meal that we're going to be having, that I'm going to do segments on and everything, but we're going to start with the biscuits first. And so fairly easy prep time, maybe about 5-10 minutes, cook time about 15 minutes, so you can get it all done in about 20 to 25 minutes. You can do them different sizes, but I'm going to show you how to get it done, and let's go to it and see how we do. Okay, the things you will need is a bowl. It does not matter if it's plastic, metal, or what, and that's what the contents is going in. You will also need self-rising flour. It doesn't depend on what kind of name brand or anything, but be sure it says self-rising flour. Okay, then with that you would need some good old butter. It can be either 45 to 48% vegetable oil / butter, and which is, I use a lot of Piggly Wiggly brand because that's the closest grocery store to where we're at. Then also get you some milk. It can be any type of milk, but I use vitamin D milk. And Piggly Wiggly brand. Piggly Wiggly is actually a fairly good store that you can go to. So what we'll do is we'll get started with the flour, getting it open. And while we're getting that, depending on how big your pan is, you can use one of these pans right here and have it greased. I normally use like a 8x12 or 9x13, something like that. Alright, now let me get my cup here. See, this cup is a half a cup. So what we're going to do is, normally I just eyeball it. Alright. And we're going to go 2 cups. Alright, now these 2 cups that we're putting in here is actually going to come up to about maybe 2.5 cups, because I don't sit there and take it fully flattened out. Alright, so we're just going to leave that right there because we'll need that here shortly. Alright, now you can see we have the flour right here. Be sure you have a spoon to mix it with, and also a fork. And this is where the fork comes in. You're going to take a glob of butter, which is a glob. I'm really not sure how much that is, but let's just say a glob. So you can have your own type of glob, whichever way you want it to be. Alright, but now you're just going to take and you're going to mix that in with the flour, like that right there. You're going to mix it in until the butter and the flour are kind of crumbly. And the way that I normally do it is, if you take the tines of the fork and just go straight down on the butter and pull in a motion like you're making lines in the dirt or something. You just sit there and you go all the way around till the butter and the flour all crumbly together like this. And once we get that good and ready to go, kind of flatten out to where it's flattened out. What we're going to do is we're going to take the spoon, go directly into the center of it and kind of make a volcano type thing. And this is where we are going to pour our milk. Now, the milk, I'm not for sure how much I normally put in there, but we're just going to eyeball it a little bit. So, what I have, this right here is close to about a cup and a half. So let's just say that this is going to be 1 cup. And that should be close to 1 cup. And you're going to pour a little bit in, and you're going to mix it like this right here. And you see how the milk is kind of being absorbed a little bit, and you can pour the rest of it in. And you really don't want it soupy, but you want it enough to where the milk dissolves the flour and makes like a paste. Be sure to mix it around really, really good, like so. Now, some people like little bitty biscuits, some people like the monstrous biscuits. I grew up eating what we call cat head biscuits. Oh, they're so good. They're huge. Put some butter and some honey on there. Alright, you see, once you get this all mixed up fairly well, like that right there. So, it was 1 whole of these, about a cup and a half. You can kind of figure out, measure it out. Now, you want to have the oven set to bake and have it set to 400 degrees. Alright, now since we're momentarily done with the butter, so I'm going to move it over here to the side, and we are done with the milk. So, we're going to put the milk back in the refrigerator. Alright, now comes the next part, which is if you want to use like the counter space, you can use the counter space. I normally use tinfoil because it's easier to clean up. You're just going to take some flour. Some people do it straight on the counter. Some people, like I said, use wax paper, tinfoil, or if they have a rolling board, cutting board. Alright, what you're going to do is you're going to pretty much just put some flour there. And which is, I use a lot of flour. Alright, now you're going to take your biscuit dough that you just done. Make sure you get all the flour dough out. Alright, take you a little bit of flour and put on there. And just use your finger like that right there. Put a little bit more flour on there to get the dough off of it, so that way the flour, when you coat your hand, the flour or your finger, the flour does not stick that much So we can throw the spoon over into the sink because we're not going to need it anymore. Now, what you're going to do is you have the flour all right here. You're going to take the flour that you put on there, whether you used a little bit or a lot. You use like much as I did, then you can just sit there and take. You can kind of pat it out. Now, the secret to doing a southern style biscuit is basically you're just going to get the flour coated. Alright, you're not going to sit there and knead it out and knead it out and knead it out. So once you get it coated and you can work with it, you want to sit there and form the dough into a circle, square, however you want to do it, and have it about an inch thick, which is to kind of do an inch. If you take your pinky and you bend it like this, from this knuckle to this knuckle is actually 1 inch. So you can kind of go from there and see where the inch is at. Okay, then we're going to take our cup, the one we had milk in it, and which is we're going to take, I normally do it in the flour bag, but you're going to get it floured. So that way when you go in, you can twist it around and the biscuit comes out. Like so. And what we have so far, see, you have a biscuit, and you put it in the biscuit pan. So you see, I'm just taking and putting the biscuits that I got so far into the pan like so. And then you just basically repeat the step with the flour. Take and you pat it back out into a circle with about an inch. You want to make sure that there's no cracks or anything and from where you just got finished doing the other cuts. Alright, then you take and you do the same thing. You cut the biscuits out like so.
to take the flour. You're going to do the exact same thing again until all the flour is gone. We're going to cut. Then if you get down to like this little bit of flour, you can just sit there and take and kind of form it with your hand a little bit to make a biscuit, like so. Okay, now we can take this, make sure all of our flour is off of it. Now we can take the flour and put it over to the side. Your scooper, you put it over here, we don't need it. Now, with the excess flour, you're going to place over there a tinfoil. You can just wad up and throw away. Now, we're going to need this flour later on for what we're going to do with our meat. So, what we're going to do is we're just going to take and kind of save it. Just do this right here to keep it from going every which way. So we'll set that right there. Now our biscuits, this is what they look like. To have a little bit of flavor to them, we're going to take a small spoon using the back side of the spoon, not the front side, but the back side. And what you're going to do is you're going to get butter like that, and then spread it generously on top of each biscuit. And also, depending on how much butter you want on there as well. Now, I'd use it straight from the tub, but sometimes if you wanted to let the butter sit out for a little bit to kind of get to room temperature, it'll be a lot easier to spread on when you get to this point in process. Okay, now sit there. Now, as I said, be sure to have the oven set on 400. If you're in higher elevations, then you might have to adjust the setting on it to a little bit higher temperature. Probably no more than 425. Now, as we put the butter on, like so, This is one of the first dishes, well, it's really not considered a dish, but breads that I had actually learned how to make. And I used to make it quite a lot when I was younger. Started cooking, kind of funny, started cooking when I was about 3 years old by accident. Ended up, my mom used to make a lot of biscuits like these and just have them in the refrigerator, and she would heat them up for me to snack on when I was little. Well, I decided I wanted to heat one up and didn't ask Mom anything, and went to go put the biscuit in the microwave. And with me being 3 years old, not really knowing what I was doing, I just pressed some buttons and ended up the biscuit got put on in the microwave for 3.5 hours. And by the time Mom and Dad walked into the kitchen, there was smoke coming out of the microwave. The biscuit was charcoal black, and they had to use tongs to get it out of the microwave so they could handle it. They had to put it in the refrigerator and everything. It's kind of funny, and I guess I kind of started my cooking career, but I'm not that bad of a cook. I was back then. I actually fairly good at cooking. I got a lot of people who loves my cooking, biscuits and everything. So get the last one here. Alright, now that is the butter part. We're going to take and put the butter in the refrigerator. And the flour, we can put it up in the shelf since we're done with it for momentarily. Okay, and this right here, you have your biscuits that are ready to pop in the oven. Now, also, if you take the biscuits and you consider the point in time that we sit there and we made these, then you can see that they're fairly easy to make. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop them in the oven. Alright, and in about 10 to 15 minutes they'll come out, and we'll see how they look like when they come out. And this is your Southern style homemade biscuits from scratch. Okay, now the biscuits, they are done, and this is what they look like. Those are some good old Southern style biscuits, and they are soft, chewy, and delicious. Okay, so there you go. That's how you make the Southern style homemade biscuits. They got butter in them, so they're considered buttermilk. You got butter in the flour, and so eat up, and it's delicious. And so if you like to leave comments at the bottom of the post, you can leave them. Let me know what you think, if you made them and how they turned out, and I'll try to help y'all on anything that I can. So that's it for me for now, and good luck and happy biscuit making.